Want it down there so we can hear people better.
Yes.
St. Delbert.
I'm sorry.
Is this Phyllis from St. Delbert?
No, this is Councilwoman Gray.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
All right.
Should be in there from yet, from the appellants. Ms. Holder.
You're all over.
Present, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Faith will be absent today. Ms. Britt.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum with 4 members.
All right. And do we have any council people on today?
We do. We have Council Member Deborah Gray.
All right, Ms. Holster, we'll start with Councilwoman Gray's case at 23-058.
Got it, thank you. All right. Our first case is calendar number 23-058. This is at 2923 East 125th Street. I apologize, there's a lot of background noise. I don't know if everyone else is getting background noise too. I'll just wait until it's muted. Okay. Our first case is calendar number 23-058. This is at 2923 East 125th Street. Shelda Brantley proposes to establish use as a residential facility for 8 occupants in a B12 family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do, state your name and your address, please.
I do.
Is there anyone else present or online to testify for this case? Yes, Councilwoman Gray.
Hi, Councilwoman Gray,
And you're,
601 Lakeside City Hall.
I do.
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? All right, Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1928, a permit was issued to erect a dwelling on site. Madam Chair, then in the more recent history, we see that there was an inspection in 2022 for this use. I don't have the details on that one. And Madam Chair, I believe that's all that we have that's relevant. And also there are no variances on this case. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Anybody from the law department today? I'll go ahead and read that, Madam Chair. I don't see anybody from the law department. Madam Chair, members of the board, the appellant is requesting a use variance and an area variance from the minimum distance requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without a variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Brantley. So go ahead and tell us, so I'm reading here, you were here last time and we requested some time for you to go talk to the councilwoman and also get some drawings and dimensions about the bedrooms. So do you have that stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, she has. Yes.
Oh, she has.
Yep.
You can sit up at the table, please.
Yeah, sit there, please. Okay, so give us an update on your meeting and what happened since you were here last.
I did meet with my Councilwoman Gray. I gave her a tour of another group home that I have, as well as the one here on 2923. I explained to her what I wanted to do, what my intention was. And I walked her through the facility so she can see the 8 bedrooms and see how it's set up where I can occupy it as a group.
All right.
I also provided the drawings. The measurements was a concern, so I did get those rooms measured. And I took pictures so you can kind of get a visual, an idea of the upstairs being, it'll hold 5 people and downstairs will hold 3. So just want to show you, so you can have an idea of what it looks like.
That's all right. Thank you. Councilwoman Gray,
Yes,
you want to go ahead and chime in on your meeting with Ms. Brantley?
yes. I met Miss Brantley a couple Saturdays ago, and she took me a tour throughout the house. And the question I asked Miss Brantley is that she did explain that the people that she have in her group homes are senior citizens. But the question I asked Ms. Bradley that I had concern about with the double rooms was, how can you put 2 people in a room who's not familiar with each other and dealing with the circumstances of their health? So she responded that she Ms. Bradley, could you ask how you responded to that question?
Sure. So I get referrals from hospitals, nursing homes, community centers, and usually they come in already in with that type of mindset. They come from nursing homes and maybe they don't necessarily, they share a room in a nursing home. A lot of times that has never been an issue, but I do take their personalities and their diagnoses and that into consideration before I pair them up. So that wouldn't be an issue.
So that part, by me not having the expertise in that background, that's the part that I told her that I had to concern about of putting people in the same room that doesn't know each other and pertaining to their health issues. And also my concern was about her external, the external appearance of the house, that she needed to do some renovations on the outside of the property as well, of because some of the residents on the streets were concerned about the external, and then the residents also questioned about of the residents because she didn't have a conversation with them in the neighborhood, because they don't know who these patients are. So those was my main concerns when I had a conversation with her.
Okay, so Councilwoman, your conversation with Ms. Brantley was just you two. There was no involvement of any other community members?
Yes, there was no involvement of any other community members and homeowners that live on the street that wasn't aware that how many people would be in that house and and the condition of the people who was coming.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Brantley, did you speak to any of your neighbors about this?
I spoke to the lady across the street. The house is currently, my license is in escrow, so it's been a group home. The only difference that I'm doing now is that I would like to go from 5 people to 8. It's been that way for years. I've never had any problems with with the neighbors. Nobody has ever confronted me about anything. The condition of the house, I just applied for a grant, and my hope is that I'll be able to do the siding. I had some personal issues going on, and things kind of fell to the wayside, but things are better for me now. And I'm just asking, for a variance that I can go from 5 people to 8.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, I do want to add something. I know one of the residents who called, which is the precinct person that lived right next to the house. She is basically on her way up there now. She called and said she was parking and on her way up there, and hopefully that she can make it in before this section is over to speak to the behalf of the resident on the street, because she's the precinct committee person. And she did speak to me after I told her I had a meeting with Miss Bradley about the house. And she still was unfamiliar with Miss Bradley. She was unfamiliar with the tenants, and she wanted to meet Miss Bradley and also have a tour of the house so she can let the resident know, Miss Bradley expectations.
All right, thank you. Yes,
I have a letter. I
okay.
have a letter from Sydney Bartell. I don't know if that's the neighbor that she's talking about. If it's all right, I can
Please read it in the record, yes.
So Sydney Bartell states that she does not support this group home exemption and requests that it be denied because of the overly saturation, excuse me, of group homes and facilities that is strangling our neighborhood. All neighborhoods should support group homes within reason, and we already have so many. However, we are oversaturated in Buckeye. These folks do not live in our neighborhood or even the city. They buy homes here for cheap and then dump the problems on us who have been here for 10 to 20 years. And just force us to move to the suburbs because we can't live amongst total chaos. The owner is known as a bad operator of group homes. Mrs. Brantley illegally has used this home on East 125th because she does what she wants. Furthermore, look at her other facilities that I've looked into. She has numerous entities, including Turning Point, 3427 at East 147th Street. Total dump. This person claims that it's a slum and she operates a group home. Look at the Google images from when she bought the property a decade ago to today. She has done no work to the property. It is just weathered and dilapidated over years. She does not reinvest in these properties at all. She is sucking the wealth out of our Southeast neighborhoods to pay for her fancy townhouse in Cleveland Heights. She claims that she does not pay taxes and has numerous tax foreclosures against her. She owns this home on East 125th Street, which is terrible shape. She also owns a house on Lotus Drive and one on East 143rd Street and 2 on East 147th Street. And they are in horrible shape, and she's a known slumlord. Also, she is known to operate these homes illegally. See Cuyahoga County Civil Case CB 19910154, where she was sued and had to pay more than $300,000 to employees because she was cheating them. All in all, we have too many group homes in the area. The streets are full of zombies from the group homes and the numerous transitional apartments and drug treatment facilities that saturate the neighborhood. And she just further goes on to say, please do not grant this variance. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brantley, do you want to respond to any of that?
Yes, when I bought some of the properties, there was those taxes came with those properties. So I am on a payment plan for 2. The other ones that I have are free and clear. I just received my state inspection from the state, and I have 0, no corrections, no complaints. All of my facilities are well kept. If there was an issue with any of them, the state stays on me. I'm held accountable. I'm held to a high standard. I've been doing this for 17 years, and I have very low turnover rate. I have people that has been with me for 17 years. So I'm not sure a lot of that what she was saying, but that's not true. That's not the case now.
Okay, thank you.
And Madam Chair, I'm sorry. There's one other thing that I didn't notice in our history. In 2018, there was a licensing fee for Kindle Care located on this address. And that was in 2018 as well as 2019. So I'm not sure if that's the name of the home, but there is some evidence that a license was issued or at least paid for in our
Yeah, I
records.
believe she testified that this was already an existing group home. She just wanted to increase the number of residents, so. All right, city planning.
Which one city planning? First of all, I wanted to hear from the councilwoman, does she support this then, or?
Oh, good question. Councilwoman, are you in support of this group home with further questions and answers, or do you not support it?
Well, at this point, Madam Chair, thank you for that question. At this point, is there any possible way that we can hold this one more time for Ms. Bradley to meet the Princey Committee person and other residents on the street to have a conversation? Because she did plan to come to my meeting to speak to the residents in regarding of her group home on this in Ward 4 on East 125th Street.
Yes, what, do you have a date for that meeting when it was gonna?
Yes, that meeting is scheduled for June 10th.
Oh,
She
yeah.
acknowledged that she would be there to speak to the residents. And I have already spoken to the Princey Committee person, Lois Henry. I just spoke to her a minute ago. She's on her way up upstairs to the meeting. However, she said that if she can meet her and then we can arrange a personal meeting on the street to have a tour, then that decision can be decided with the residents as well.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Considering the meeting is scheduled for June 10th, I believe a postponement is okay for this, considering the meeting is so quick. And we should have an answer for that fairly quickly. So board without objection for postponing?
Without objection.
Without objection.
All right, thank you. So Ms. Brantley, we're gonna postpone you again so you have a chance to meet with your neighbors so you can clear up any misgivings they may have about you. And then we'll put you back on the schedule, okay?
Okay.
All
Madam
right.
Chair, we can give her a date today.
Yes.
Unfortunately, our agendas are full for the next few weeks. July 10th would be the next available
Okay.
date.
So we'll put you on for July 10th. Okay.
Ms. Brent, you don't think you can spend?
Yeah, you can bring it back. Yes. You don't have to
Oh,
make any.
sorry.
Don't need to make more copies.
Yeah.
Just bring that back.
Just bring, okay.
Madam Chair, we also were given these photos. I think they were submitted down there. Don't know if you wanted to keep them.
these in the
or-
file.
Yeah, just keep them in the file for now.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Brantley. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
All right, we can start from the beginning. Unless, do we see any more, Liz?
No, I do not see any council people. No.
All right, Ms. Host, we can start from the beginning.
Sounds good. Our next case is calendar number 23-072. This is at 1380 East 32nd Street. The City of Cleveland proposes to renovate an existing recreation center, erect a 5,300 square foot addition, and reduce accessory off-street. I'm so sorry. Reduce an accessory off-street parking lot to 14 spaces in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland codified ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 3. And there is also a note that approval of City Planning Commission is required. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand. Reply, I do. State your name and address, please.
I do. Mark Gulick, Cleveland City Hall, 601 Lakeside Avenue.
I do. Mike Sterling, 111 Front Street, Bree, Ohio, 4401.
I do. Katie Chu, Cleveland City Hall, 601.
I'm sorry, what was your last name, Katie?
Chu.
So if you could please come up to the table so that we can hear you better. Yeah, you can pull up the chair or whatever.
Thank you. Is there anyone online who would like to give testimony for this case? Anyone else in person? Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found in 1971, a permit was issued to erect a recreation building on site. There are 2 variances on file in calendar 81-83. A variance was granted to erect an enclosure of exterior swimming pool, as well as an addition, one-story recreation area. And that again was granted in 1981. Then there's another variance, calendar 20-185. Variance was granted to renovate existing recreation center and include a 5,300 square foot addition and reduction of accessory off-street parking lot to 14 spaces in a B1 two-family residential district. And again, that was granted in December of 2020. And that's all that I have that is relevant. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Pelham is requesting the use variance and an area variance for parking requirements in zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. The code allows the board to permit an addition to a recreation center in a two-family district if adequate yard space and other safeguards to preserve the character of the neighborhood are provided, building and use is appropriately located and designed, and if the addition will meet community need without adversely affecting the neighborhood.
All right, thank you. All right, who's the spokesperson? Okay, Mr. Hewlett, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm Mark Hewlett, City of Cleveland Division of Architecture and Site Development. And thank you for listening to us today. As was stated, this we're basically applying for the same variance that was granted in December of 2020 by this body. We got the extensions. Unfortunately, we were unable to execute a permit during the time of both the original 6 months and the extension due to budget constraints and the effects of COVID. So, but basically our request was that that variance was granted before actually be granted again with the current date because we have put the project out to bid and we are to award a contract. Just to go over a few of the reasonings for the benefit of everybody here. It's primarily a walk-to center. It's been here for over 50 years. And based on that, because it is truly a neighborhood resource and recreation center, this number of spaces is adequate based on the staff and the number of people who use it. There's also fairly ample off-street parking here in the neighborhood, about 41 additional spaces in addition to the 14 we'll be providing on site. One of the main reasons we are configuring the parking this way is we want to preserve the open space, particularly the ball field, which that is actually, just for everybody's edification, is the home of the Cleveland Scrappers, which is our visually impaired baseball team. This is their home field. And this reconfiguration allows them to actually have a regulation field based on their rules, which was one of the primary goals of the exterior space of the project. We're also doing some small additions to provide additional program space for people. So unless you have any questions or would like me to talk more about what the benefits of doing this will be, that's our request.
Liz, do we have what we granted in 2020? Can you read that for the record?
Yes. While she's looking for that, Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes, please.
What is the name of this rec center? I don't see it anywhere here.
It's the Sterling.
This is
Sterling.
Sterling.
Yeah.
Sterling Neighborhood Resource and Recreation Center. You're welcome.
So, Madam Chair, yes, the issues that are cited in calendar number 20-0185 are identical. City of Cleveland owner proposed to renovate existing recreation center. including 5,300 square foot addition and reduction of accessory off-street parking lot to 14 spaces in a B1 two-family. Sections 337.02 G3B were cited regarding the recreation center being approved in a 1 or 2 family district if approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And then section 349.024 is also cited regarding reducing off-street parking requirements. And there were no conditions placed on this variance.
That's what I wanted to know. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Sterling, is anything you want to add?
No, thank you.
All right, Ms. Chu? No? Okay, city planning?
Madam Chief, Maurice Wilson, City Planning, 100% support this project. We think it's great whenever the city is actually improving its rec centers, that they definitely provide a need that the community, fulfill the need of the community. Going based on the requirements for the BZA to improve this, there's definitely plenty of adequate yard space and the buildings are appropriately designed.
Great, and considering we granted this and during that high COVID season, I understand why there was probably some delays in that. So board, open it up. Do you all have any other questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of calendar number 23-072. It will continue to benefit the community, and having recently reviewed and approved it in 2020, and the project was unable to move forward, I move approval such that the project can proceed. Also noting the recommendation from city planning on behalf. That's my motion.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
Board Member Roca seconds.
Ms. Roca with the second. Go ahead, call the roll.
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Roca,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Britt.
Yes.
Calendar number 23-072 is granted. It'll be ratified next week and we will send the appellants a letter.
Thank you.
Next time,
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
sure we get it done. Thank you.
That's our goal. Always.
Okay. Moving on to the next case, Ms. Holzer.
Our next case is calendar number 23-074. This is at 1104 Raleigh Avenue. 1104 Raleigh LLC owner proposes to erect an addition to an existing bar and grill in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 3. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Would you like to come forward, please? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand. Say I do, state your name and your address.
I do. John Oberman, 4865 Som Center Road.
I do. Ken Kaczynski, 1001 Kenilworth Avenue, 44113.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present or online for this case?
I do. Donna Gregonis with Tremont West Development Corporation, 2406 Professor Avenue is our address.
Thank you.
Tara Lundy, 3124 West 11th Street.
Thank you. Anyone else? Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. We found that there is one variance on file in calendar number 36-101, 1936. This board actually denied a variance to erect a beer sign to the front of the building. At this time, Mr. Lenishek was the owner. And he said he had been operating a beer garden in this building under a D3 liquor permit for the past 2 years. And that for 50 years prior to the prohibition, the place was a saloon, but that between prohibition and repeal, he operated a confectionery in the room, and that he had owned the building for 8 years at that time. I think that's all that we have that's relevant.
That was some nice rich history there. Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Collins requesting a use variance and area variance from parking requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, Collins must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship, particular to the property such that there will be no economic reasonable use of the property without variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create practical difficulty not generally shared by the remainder buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and the granting variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
All right, thank you. All right, so who'll be the spokesperson? All right, Mr. Oberman, go ahead.
We simply outgrown our kitchen. It's size of a shoebox, tiny, and my cooks are on top of each other, and I've lost cooks because of it. I have to pay more because they work in the kitchen. And as far as the parking situation goes, I have a letter here from Brian Jones, the owner of the Christmas Story House, as well as 3 separate lots in the area granting us parking access. However, we're not adding any additional square feet to the dining room. And we don't really expect to hire anyone else, any additional folks.
Okay, so everything else about your business is stay the same. I think we all know what it is, but just for the record, can you, explain your business and your operation?
We're a bar and grill.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And your hours of operation are on what days?
7 a.m. Daily. We open at 7 a.m. every day. We close at 10 on Monday through Thursday, 11 Friday and Saturday, and 9 on Sunday.
All right, thank you. Liz, did you want this? Can we keep this copy? Okay. All right, so we're basically here just so you can extend the kitchen.
Exactly.
That's it, okay. All right, would you like to chime in?
Nope. He's got everything.
You got
out.
everything
Yep.
under control? All right, okay, Ms. Lundy?
Yes.
Go ahead and tell us what you'd like to say.
I'm just here in support of John.
Okay, that's good. You can say, I support John.
I support John in his endeavors.
All right, great, thank you. Ms. Gregonis?
Good morning, Donna Gregonis with Tremont West Development Corporation, the Economic Development Director for the neighborhood. I just wanted to make sure that the letter from the Block Club was submitted, and I saw on your screen that it was, that they are in full support, and that this did go before the community. And although this did not go to economic development, we don't want to delay any businesses in our neighborhood, and are excited for the business owner to continue to thrive here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, board, any questions?
Madam Chair, I just have one question for the appellant. So the letter from the Christmas Story House stating that you would have shared parking, do your customers know that they can park there? Is there any signage or?
They know, well, no, there's not.
Okay.
They know they can park there, at least the ones who are shared, at least the ones who go to the Christmas Story House and come have lunch or whatever with us.
Okay. And are there any hours that parking applies? Is it any time it's available or?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, board?
No.
Phone is
Oh,
Phone is ringing.
Yeah. Okay, city planning.
Bruce Wilson, planning, I see Brittany Mahone, neighborhood planner for that area is here. I don't know if she had any comments prepared or just.
We have to swear her in though, because she didn't.
Brittany Cleveland, City.
Can you swear her in, please?
Yes, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply I do, state your name and address.
I do, Brittany Cleveland, City Planner at 605 Bayside. I'm just here to, just to read for the record that Rebecca Moore, the councilwoman of the area, also is in support of this extension.
What about city
But,
planning?
Of course, city planning
Yeah.
supports this. Having been to this restaurant many, many times, it is, I don't understand how they even get food out of the kitchen because it is so nice. They're doing an amazing job. The community was very much behind this restaurant. The expansion that they're doing, you can see in the upper right-hand picture, I believe it's coming right out of the back where that fenced area is, so it really has no
Impact whatsoever.
impact on the neighborhood whatsoever. And the fact that I didn't know they had shared parking with the Christmas Story House is actually a good bonus, because I will say.
Well, see, now you know Maurice is gonna pull up now and park there.
But yes, we support this project.
All right, thank you. All right, with all that said, I'll entertain the motion.
Oh, and Madam Chair, if you want to state for the record that we do have a letter from Councilwoman Marver and also the Block Club.
Yeah, I think I saw them up there. Okay. There you go ahead.
Okay, Madam Chair, after hearing testimony and reviewing support letters from the councilwoman, the street club, and the recommendation from city planning, I move approval for the expansion project for the kitchen for calendar 23-074.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
Board Member Roca seconds.
Ms. Roca with the second. Go ahead, call the roll.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Calendar 23-074 is granted. It'll be ratified next week and we will send the appellant a letter.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Good luck.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
You'll be seeing Maurice next week.
Thank you.
All right, next case.
Madam Chair, if we could announce the case that was postponed at the beginning. I did see somebody that came in and the
Right.
councilwoman.
Madam Chair, I can tell her that.
Oh, you tell-
The case came up and that it's postponed to.
Yeah.
for the,
Okay.
The calendar number 23-058 regarding 2923 East 125th Street has been postponed to July 10th. If you received a paper copy of the letter, we will send out a new paper copy of the letter to you before the hearing. Thanks.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Holzer.
Our next case is calendar number 23-076. This is at 13810 Waynstead Avenue. Pamela Graham proposes to install a 6-foot wood fence within 4 feet of a wall of a neighboring house in A1 one-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. With that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Would you like to join us up here, please? And join us this one. Or this is, are you?
She's come out, I'm leaving.
Okay, then you can stay there. Thank you. For everyone who is going to testify, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply I do, state your name and your address.
I do. Pamela Graham, 13810 Waynstead.
Thank you.
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, but she might have to come.
Yeah.
Okay, please come on.
Dwaz Aid, 13806 Waynstead Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44111.
Anyone else to give testimony? All right. Sorry.
No call you, Mary Craven. 1462 Mendelssohn Drive, Oswego, at Harris. She
Okay.
lives by the house.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else online? Oh, please.
Yes. I don't know if she knows the case, she wasn't sure, she wasn't the first case that got dismissed. She,
But she's not
No.
here for this.
She's not here for this.
So we'll work
Okay.
on it. Okay, please.
I do, Adam Alpidor, 13806 Wayne Ave.
Thank you. Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1929, a permit was issued to erect a dwelling. 1936, a permit was issued to erect a garage. One more page. 1964, a permit was issued to install aluminum siding to the property. And then, Madam Chair, in the more recent history, you see that in 2021, a permit was issued to it looks like they were beginning to do some renovation on the property, waterproofing. There was re-roofing in 2012. But then we see in 2021, a permit was, well, these permits are still open. One was applied for to erect 120 linear feet of 6-foot high fence with gates. And then in 2022, a permit was applied for, and this one states inspection is pending to install 116 linear feet of 6-foot privacy fence with gates. And then there was a violation notice issued on the property. I don't have any specific details about that one, but that was in January of this year. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Legal standard.
Madam Chair, members of the Board of Pelham is requesting an area variance from fencing requirements zoning code. To obtain the area variance, Pelham must prove that denying the request will result in unnecessary hardship, particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without variance. And depriving Pelham of substantial property rights, and the granting variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Graham, tell us about your project.
All right, well, I bought this house in 2020, it's been about 3 years. When I got there was no fence, so that was a plan initially. This is my neighbor, I've been having trouble with these neighbors since I moved to this property. When I moved, we both discussed about getting a fence. And, she does have a vicious pit bull, and then she had 3 dogs at the time, I think she just has 2 now, but this pit bull was on my porch, no one was hurt. But it was on my porch and it was off the leash. And then there's times when I'm going outside, this dog's growling and growling at me and children that's with me in my home. And I don't feel safe. So I did get a fence installed in my home. I got my property surveyed and I had the fence installed. There was trouble with the installation. I had Lowe's professional people come out and do it. These people weren't very professional at their job. So it was connected it to her fence, and it wasn't, intentional to have it on her property.
Right.
So they moved it off of her property in the spring of last year. I also had a lot of trespassing on the property with her children, and there was other kids in the neighborhood that also are walking through the yard and other pets. So, I want to live in peace, and that's how, I bought this home to live in peace and to give back to my community, without causing problems. So I want to.
So quick question. Yeah, so you say you have people crossing through. You don't look like a corner lot. So do you have openings somewhere around that people can cut through?
She has an opening by her house where kids were coming through.
Okay.
And then there's an opening in the back where my neighbors to the right of me, they have a back opening where kids were coming through there.
Okay.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question? Is there an alley behind you?
It's like it's some houses behind me and the kids like run through there or whatever, I don't know.
Okay, just need that clarification. Go ahead.
And so I got this fence to secure my property, to keep unwanted pets out and keep children safe in my home. And I wanna ask for a variance to keep this 6 foot, panel. It's just a panel. And I thought everything was good. I had it approved and then they came out and said it was, a violation. But I have like an entryway in the back, so I don't know, but they said it's a violation, so I just wanna ask for a variance to keep it at 6 feet. Cause that costs to get that to come down and it's not blocking any windows or doors. It's not a safety hazard, it's secured. And I don't want pets in my yard, especially vicious pit bulls. And they're not, her yard is not fenced in, that's her yard, it's not fenced in, so the pets can get out.
So is that the current gate?
That's the gate.
And you said they corrected it and moved it off of her property?
Yeah, that's the gate, and if you look to the side there's where those posts are, there's an old gate, that's her fence, or old fence, and that's where the panel is, right there on the right of that car there. You can't see it, it's like right straight back a little bit, where that area is, where that old fence is, there's like a one panel that's there.
And
Is the one panel, I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
yeah, I'm sorry, that's okay.
Go ahead. I was wondering if the one panel is on your lot or on her lot?
It's on my lot. It's on my property.
Her panel.
Well, it's parallel like this.
Oh, okay. So you have
But
like
this is the
tandem
panel
fences
right
going?
here. It's right here on my property.
Okay. Okay, so Liz, the still the opening of the permits and all that, could that be from like Lowe's trying to correct their mistake? Since
Yes,
it's
I'm
still
sure it
open?
could be,
So a
yeah.
permit was pulled though, correct? It's just,
It was applied for, right?
okay. All
But it
right,
did not come before us previously.
no,
And Madam Chair, the issue here is that the fence shall not be higher than its distance
yeah,
from a residence building and
that
an adjoining
outdated
lot.
one, yeah.
So there isn't any indication, there are no comments about it being not on her property. But, again, she had a survey done and.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, wanted to clear that up. So it's really just the height of it. It's the issue. Yeah.
So you erected a 6 foot tall fence around the entire perimeter?
Mm-hmm.
And is it the gate that's too tall or is it everything? I don't understand what the variance
said
requested.
I'm thinking maybe the gate. Okay, I'll go ahead.
Madam Chair, no, it's not the gate.
Oh, it's not?
You look on the screen, it's the part of the fence that's parallel to the neighboring house. It has to be, if it's a 6 foot high fence, it has to be 6 foot away from.
No, I got that part. Okay.
That's the only variance here.
All right, but that's an existing condition of the house, right?
Yes, and I think that is mislabeled. I don't believe that's 6 feet.
Yeah.
It is 6 feet.
Okay.
Between the fence and the house.
All right, yeah, you can't.
Having gone out there for the pictures, didn't see here.
What do you think it is?
It's probably the 4 feet, which is standard.
Standard is
3 to 4
for whenever
feet
you
on
gotta go
side
6.
yards.
Yeah, you
But
get,
it's enough room for somebody to walk through, right?
It looks like it to me, yes.
okay. All right, Ms. Grimes, anything else you want to?
I just would like to keep it the way it is for safety reasons.
Understood. Okay, Ms. Zahid?
Thank you for seeing me. First, I did get a survey done, because she was on the property and I had to prove she was on the property. This is a copy of a notarized survey. There's 2 copies. Sorry. And then as far as the dog being on a porch, this happened back in probably fall of 2020. My dog was in heat and he took her outside to wash her off because we put a diaper on her when she's in heat, so she doesn't bleed everywhere. So she got loose from him, ran to her porch. I got a call 5 days later. This is just the dog. They're not vicious. They do.
Yeah,
bark.
we're not here about the dog
I'm
stuff,
just
though.
saying.
Yeah.
And as far as the space between the fence, this is a space between the fence. So nothing's gonna grow there but weeds. There's no way to cut any of it. Now, she was told by the city inspector, she was told when she filed a restraining order against me after I had to get these all done, that she was still on the property. And she put the metal fence up that's adjacent, that's parallel to my fence. She put that up in January. So, and that she's saying she put the fence up for safety. She doesn't park in the yard for safety. So I don't understand why I'm being accused of my dogs being violent. My kids don't even run. They all drive, they all work, they all go to school. So I don't have little kids running around my house. We do have neighborhood kids that run through the yard, but they're kids, that's what they do. They run through yards.
So the wood fence is yours.
The wooden fence is mine, and it was actually standing perfectly straight until she had worked on her house, and they were leaning all their stuff on that side of the fence. So they actually leaned all the equipment, like the concrete, wood, everything was leaned against that side of the fence, pushing my fence in.
So are you in here opposition of her fence? Is that what?
Look, she wants to keep a fence up. I want it off my property. And that was the whole reason for this whole thing being, where she was in violation, because it's on my property. I want her off my property. She wants to live in peace. I want to live in peace. She moved in a year after me. I bought my house 2020. She bought it 2021. I would just like her completely off my property. I mean, when she put the fence up at first, I was fine. Didn't say anything. When I cleaned up this mess that they left behind, she called the police on me that same day, then filed a restraining order on me the following day. So I had no problem with it up until this. I just can't deal with it. I can't go in my yard with my dogs without her complaining about it. They are on leashes when I take them out. They are on leashes when we take them out, and they go back inside. I take them for walks. They have a harness and a muzzle if needed, but I never had to muzzle them.
Okay, so, but we want to stay on the issue here. It's about the fence is what we're here today about. So you're okay with her keeping her
No, I'm
fence?
not okay with it.
You want her to move her
I
fence?
want her to move the fence.
Ms. Graham?
My fence was moved. It's not on her property. It was moved off the property.
Well,
She
because
was
you testified earlier that
Yeah.
it was on there and then they
was
moved it off.
So I don't know what she's talking about. That's
Okay.
old stuff.
The
from
pins are still
spring
present.
of last year. And her fence has been leaning since I moved in that house. I moved in my house in 2020, not 2020. In 2020, her fence was leaning. That fence has been leaning, and she mentioned that it was leaning when I met her, as she introduced herself, trying to be a friendly neighbor. But things have just been haywire since several incidents.
So Ms. Aid, if the fence is not
This is
on
a-
your property,
It is on my property.
I'm saying if it's not on your property, you're okay with her having a fence?
I don't care what she does.
Okay, that's what we need to get to, yeah.
But who's gonna take care of the grass in between?
That's not for the BZA to decide, ma'am. We're just here to talk about
I'm
the
not
fence.
okay with her fence.
That's before us.
All right, so I'm not
So,
okay with it. I'm opposed.
And, Madam Chair,
mhm.
just to reiterate, and I know that you probably know this as well, the property line disputes are not, within the purview of the
Right,
board. That
it's
is
not.
It's a private matter that they would have to, deal with outside of this.
It's not. I was just trying to get support or not support for the fence, not property lines. So,
The pins were found.
ma'am, I haven't called on you yet, so hold on one second. So Maurice, the
Madam-
problem is I don't know what the date of those pictures are exactly,
Yeah,
so I
the
can't.
Madam Chair, the survey has May 12th, 2022 is when that was done.
Okay,
Again, just to reiterate, we don't
Right.
involve the property disputes. And I will say this to the neighbor, she has a right to put a 4-foot fence on without a variance, okay? So there's no difference as to the fact that you mentioned nothing will grow there. And nothing would grow there, whether it was 4 foot or 6 foot, I don't see the difference with that. So, as long as the fence is on the applicant's property, it is a very small portion of the fence that's actually in that 4-foot zone because it's so far back from the front of the house. It's really a very small part. I would recommend approval of the 6-foot fence. However, if the neighbor and if whatever the board feels, let me just show you something here that I downloaded to bring up. We have been looking at fencing like this a lot, and this is what's with our new zoning code.
While you're doing that, just, your fence is chain link and hers is.
No, hers.
Yours is, yeah, it's only wood in the front.
Yours is wood.
Yeah, hers is wood, just from where the gate is, all the way around
It's only
to
chain link
the
on
back
that.
of the
Yeah,
garage.
it's only on
Hers-
It's only on that side though.
Yeah, that's
Here.
what's weird about it. I
So
don't know if
this
it had to
is-
be wood fence all the way around.
This is-
I don't think
That's
it
just a,
matters.
that's just a cosmetic thing.
So it just hurts all the way around. No, that's before, but that's just
Yeah.
actually the
These
first fence
pictures,
put
I
up.
don't know when they're happening.
These pictures all happened these are all recent, except for that one was last year.
Okay, thank you.
Madam
So she
Chair,
had put up.
I didn't know about this, the pictures, so now that I know that it's a chain link fence, I have no objection to a 6-foot chain link fence. On that small portion of the property, it's completely transparent. It's also being blocked anyway by another fence from the other property owner, so I don't really see it, which is also 6 foot high, as you can see.
Okay.
So, as long as the fences are on the perspective of each of the owners, I have no objections.
Okay. All right, so the other people you have here, do they have standing in this case? Ma'am, do you live with her?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I just had a mother's currently when I came to stand in August. What is the date of this dog?
Well, this was on May
Of this year,
of last year.
of last year, and claims
Ma'am,
is on.
Oh, I understand, okay, I hear where you guys are coming from, but again, right now she's got rodent issue where she has wildlife. Now, those rodents are gonna continue.
that's not
Those
part of-
rodents between the
But
fences.
Ms. Zaid, we don't want to get in the middle of your neighbor dispute. We are the Board of Zoning Appeals and she's here for a variance for a fence. And that's the only thing that we can address. We can't address any other private issues that you all have. I can't reiterate that enough. I understand there's some animosity here, but we can't be in the middle of
I'm
that.
the one that moved my chair over.
It's fine. I just can't be we just can't be in the middle of a neighborly dispute. We're here about a fence. That's it. Do you have anything you want to add? Do you live in the house?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I was there,
Is this about the fence?
Yes.
Okay.
The one fence that was put up, in our yard where they dug out some part of dirt and, placed it with clay and cement, wooden posts. I was just there and, snow. And I just want to see if it's possible.
I understand. Okay,
Appellate had her hand up.
is there anything else about this
Everything was
fence?
corrected.
Okay.
It was moved off of the property,
Mhm.
so everything was corrected. And whatever issues I have in my house, it's not because of me, because I'm very clean. And it's neighbor issues.
Okay, so
But,
we're gonna go back to the
yeah,
fence
the
though.
fence, but
Only
my
talking about the
fence is
fence.
just, it's on my property, it's not on her property.
Okay, that's the main thing we need to. So, board, do you have any other questions for the appellant?
I actually, Madam Chair, do have a question. So just for the materiality, I want to make sure I'm clear now that, I thank you for bringing the pictures because we didn't have a full portrait of what is actually happening with the fence. So it's wood in where the gate is, it's chain link next to her property, it's wood in the back and wood on the other side.
Yes.
Okay. And the chain link, I mean, that is visible. You usually have issues with a fence that is not transparent.
But the chain-
It is
but it is,
transparent
yeah,
because of the chain link.
That's
You
what
can
I'm
see right
saying.
through
That's what I'm
it.
saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The chain link was not the violation, it was just a small panel that was the violation because of the height. That
Right,
was
the height.
issue.
Yeah. And we still don't know the total distance between the two homes.
About 3 feet, 3-4 feet.
Okay.
But this is existing condition now.
It's not the homes, it's between the homes, is it between the homes or the property line?
Well,
No, the
Property
house
li-
and the
property
property
line,
line.
property line.
Yeah, that's the space there.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay, any other questions? I'm good. All right, I will entertain a motion.
We're ready to move.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I move to approve calendar number 23076. Based on the testimony we've heard today, the appellant testified that she corrected the fence that was on the adjoining property line. It has now been moved. It is opaque. It is a chain link fence, so there's visibility. The distance between what has been testified today, that the distance between property line and the fence that the appellant erected is the reason for the variance today, and I move that we grant that variance.
Thank you. I'll add a friendly amendment that will make sure that Building and Housing follows up with whatever they need to follow up with on this case. All right. Can I have a second, please?
I second.
All right. Can you go ahead and call the roll, please?
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Calendar number 23-076 is granted. It'll be ratified next week, and we will send it to the appellant a letter.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My question is, if this is a certified survey and it says it is on the wrong property, et cetera, what's the point of getting us?
I was told by the city that I had to get a survey.
Had to get a survey.
To prove it.
Yes.
And I understand you guys aren't partisan lines, I understand that, but she erected the fence, yet again, another fence, the chain link fence is on the property, the pins are right there. So. if
We've
you
already
can't-
ruled on this case, so
Go down
you
to
can go down to
505.
Building and Housing.
Yeah,
Building and Housing is the one
505.
who
I've
takes care
tried,
of this.
I've tried, and I've just had all my emails from, these are all emails from housing.
Then
Yeah,
go
no
in person. You're here. Go right downstairs.
Or down the hall to 505 first. Yeah, building.
Oh,
housing
yeah.
is on the-
I'm sorry. Yeah, 505.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna just check that here.
You're done.
You're done.
You're done.
Yep. Your variance is granted.
Feel free to. If you want.
Yeah. You can hang back if you like for a while. Okay, next case.
Madam Chair, would you like me, are we reading calendar number 23-009 and 23-010 in together? It's the same appellant and it looks like it's the same.
Yeah, I think so.
So our next two cases are calendar number 23-009 at 4630 Broadway Avenue and calendar number 23-010 at 4636 Broadway Avenue. Julie Abwan, owner, proposes to establish use as an outside/open storage, and I apologize, I feel like I cannot read these cases this morning. Julie Abwan, owner, proposes to establish use as outside/open storage and install a 6-foot-high fence in a C2 local retail business district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 4. And these 4 are relevant to both calendar number 23-009 and calendar number 23-010. These cases were originally postponed on February 13th at the request of the councilman to allow time for further review. No testimony was taken at that time. The cases were dismissed on March 20th due to the appellant's unexplained absence. The appellant later explained that a scheduling error caused the absence, so the board reinstated these cases to June 5th. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Bring in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply I do, state your name and your address, please.
I do. Adela Ala, 91 Milton, Berea, Ohio, 44017.
I do. Chris Alvarado, Executive Director for Slavic Village Development, 5620 Broadway Avenue, Cleveland, 44127.
Thank you. Anyone else for this case? Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This property was originally zoned general retail in 1929. In 2008, it was changed to local retail business. In our records administration office, we found that in 1968, there were alterations for a furniture display in what was at that time identified as 24 suites and 1 store and 1 church on the property. And then in the more recent history, we see that in 2019, a permit was issued to demolish 2-story structure for Cleveland building codes. And that's all that, there's no variances, and that's all that I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Ellen is requesting a use variance and area variances from the fencing, parking, grading, landscaping requirements of the River Road. To obtain use variance, upon it was proven tonight, the request will result in unnecessary hardship, particularly to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without variance, the private home of substantial property rights, and the granting variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, with private component of substantial property rights, and the granted variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Ala, go ahead. Tell us what you'd like to do.
Good morning, everyone. So we would like to use this space, this lot for our business, the land dumping. It's a dumpster business. We would like to put empty dumpsters in there, use it as a storage. We would set back 10 feet, and in that 10 feet, we will decorate it with trees and bushes. And also, we would like to fence it with 6 feet chain link fence, and also because we need to cover it, we would put a feather lock slat. And on the left side, there is the Harding Park, which has a fence. And basically, that's it. So we want to change this to a semi-industry.
Okay, and what, you want to do this in part of the parking lot, or is there another area? I can't really tell from this drawing.
So this is basically just empty lot.
Okay,
And
so there's no parking lot. Okay.
no, there's no parking. It's just empty like land. And I also have provided a site plan. I submitted to the boarding and zoning.
Yes, we have it. So you want to enclose it all? So you want to enclose it all with chain link fence?
Not this one. I have provided a different one. I don't know how you switch the camera backwards. So it's basically this one. I don't know if they submitted with you guys.
Yeah, we have that one.
You have this one? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I couldn't see it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you want to enclose the whole property, vacant property, with the chain link fence, but with the slats in there so it's not see-through. And then you want to store empty dumpsters there for your business.
Correct. And due
so
to the regulate, oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. And at any point, you don't plan on having these dumpsters full, right?
No.
They will always be empty?
Correct.
What is the business?
What, yeah, she said you do junk removal or something, right? Is that what you said?
We have a dumpster. It's the name of the business is called the Land Dumping. It's a dumpster business.
Oh, okay. So you pick up things from other places and put them in.
Correct.
Okay.
For like construction and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And according to the regulations, we have to set back 10 feet. And in those 10 feet, we're gonna put in front of the park, the land decorations such as trees and bushes, and I put all the descriptions in there.
Okay, thank you. Maurice, can we get the aerial of this place? Okay. And that's the on-ramp to go to the freeway?
Yes, the freeway is that road
Right
over
behind
there.
you?
Behind
Okay.
But yes.
All right.
What's next? What are the uses next to this property, Maurice?
So, immediately to, Madam Chair, immediately to the, correction, but left on this aerial is a city park.
Improved, unimproved?
Improved. You can see the sign in the bottom left.
See it now.
Okay.
I see playground.
Yes, and next to it is a mechanical shop, and then in front on the right side there is a business, like a dumpster business for storages as well. And then in front of the land is our property as well, which we are fixing and turning into an office.
Okay. Mr. Alvarado?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have not had contact with Ms. Abrawan or anybody else since the last postponement of the meeting. I can tell you that both Slavic Village Development as well as Councilman Starr are not in favor of this request for several different reasons. Number one is, so across, as mentioned, and as you can see in those photos, we've got Hardy Park that was very recently improved by the city of Cleveland. And so that we've got a functioning park next door. Across the street is the Finn Cafe. If you recall, they were in front of BZA either earlier this year or late last year, and have been making a lot of improvements to their business, and there are a well-functioning restaurant and bar. I think thanks in large part to the guidance provided by this board. We're also working with the property owner. If you can move over to the aerial that showed the site there. There we go. Thank you. So like I said, immediately to the left is a park. If you look to the, I would say 4 o'clock from the site, that is where the Finn Cafe is. That ramp there off of 77 is actually an exit ramp. So certainly it'll be easy for these dumpsters to come to the property off of 77. But then in order to get either back onto 77, you could go southbound coming up Broadway. But if you want to go northbound toward downtown or toward the east, you basically have to kind of circle your way through the neighborhood in order to get there. We're doing a lot of work here at this gateway into the neighborhood. And we very much feel like having an industrial or semi-industrial use is not something that would work well with the plans and the work that we're doing around here. Just a few blocks southeast along Broadway, so away from downtown. We've got 5115 at the Rising. There's a lot of new both residential and commercial development work taking place nearby. So this is not something that we would be in favor of, not just because of the use, but also, we're moving in a positive direction with regards to commercial and residential development.
Okay, thank you. So,
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just to the.
Hold on one second, Tyler.
Just to the note of getting in contact with the appellant and the councilperson. Wednesday, February 8th, I sent the appellant a letter stating that the councilman had requested a postponement in advance of the hearing date, and that you were gonna vote on the new date. I told her that Councilman Starr is copied on the email as well as the neighborhood planner, and that the representative and also the representative from Slavic Village Corporation. I was connecting everyone so that, to start the conversation. And they will need to, or they will want to meet with you and possibly hold a public meeting for the next hearing. So there was some communication about the appellants need to consult with them before our hearings. Thank you.
Yes, that is true. I have tried to get in contact with Councilman Starr many times. I have called him over 15 times. I went to his office and many times I left my information. Every time I call his number, it's his assistant answers me. It is a female. She always tells me to leave my information and wait for a call back or an answer. And I have never received a call back or an answer from Councilman Starr, so I could meet up with him. I also have been to his office at 601 Lakeside, and all they told me is to leave my information. And I've been there many times. I also been there to boarding and zoning, and like I'm trying very hard to be in touch with him, but for some reason I could never get a hold of him. And also, as Mr. Alvarado was mentioning, on the right side, there is a dumpster business as well. And next on the left side, there is a mechanical. So all this businesses around it, there are like basically semi-industry businesses.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Alvarado, you want to respond to that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we're actually working with those property owners that Ms. Ala had mentioned because they are looking at moving from being industrial to being commercial. So those are active conversations that we're having with them.
Okay, Mr. Alvarado, question. Do you think any further contact with the community or the council person would be feasible for this, or do you all just are going to stand clear on you don't want this right here?
We're always willing to have those to be able to convene public meetings around this, but very honestly, this is not consistent with our development plans for this part of the neighborhood. So it would take a lot of convincing to make this happen. I mean, especially just having empty, certainly empty dumpsters, but dumpsters nonetheless being, coming in and out of this property. It's not consistent with the development pattern that we've been experiencing and that we're pushing forward.
Okay, thank you. City planning.
Maurice Rowan, City Planning. So as it's stated in the adjudication, this is first permitted in a semi-industry district. This is local retail. So this is several zoning districts away from local retail.
Yeah.
And I know that as a point of fact that our neighborhood planner is working with the Community Development Corporation to actually rezone this whole area. And I know that they are not going to be moving towards semi-industry in this area. They're obviously trying to change the nature and type of businesses that are located here. And I do not think that a dumpster business, this location is appropriate. I also don't think there's any hardship. You can't tell me that there's no other economical use for this property in this area other than a dumpster business, which, she would have to prove to us that there's nothing else that she could possibly put on this site in order to get a variance from local retail all the way to semi-industry. So we do not, going along with the councilman and community development and the lack of communication that there has been between the applicant and the Community Development Corporation, the community and the councilman, we would recommend disapproval of this.
All right, thank you. Board, any questions?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'd like to know from Ms. Ala, how long have they owned this property or when it was purchased? I'm trying to understand that.
Ms. Ala, did you hear the question?
Yes, so Ms. Julia is the owner of the property. We are actually in the process of changing the ownership from Julia to us. to our business. So we're in the process. That's why I'm representing Miss Julia Abone in here.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question as well.
Yes.
On the plans that you submitted, Ms. Ala, there are several spaces delineated. I counted 10 where you've labeled dumpster spacing. Is it 10 dumpsters that are supposed to be stored in this space, or are you planning on having more than that?
They are going to be around, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are about 20 to 22 dumpsters, but most likely 20 empty dumpsters. So we would only like to use this space as a storage, and we're willing to decorate it around it. So it will not be a problem for the neighbors and the area.
And Ms. Ala, there's a chain link fence already currently around the property. Is that what you're keeping, or you plan on replacing that?
That is a chain link. We are willing to change it. If you guys agree, we can put it to a 4 feet or 6 feet. And if there are any other requirements for the fence, we are willing to change it and put as you guys would like it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Anybody? Motion?
Madam
Anybody?
Chair, hearing testimony from the appellant, the CDC, the city, I move that we deny this variance based on the testimony we've heard today, that the appellant plans to store 20 to 22 empty dumpsters on the property with a fence. We've also heard testimony from the city that there is rezoning that is being contemplated for this area, and the CDC that they are not in support based on the plans of the area. I move, Madam Chair, that we deny because the appellant has failed to articulate a hardship as necessary by the legal standard, and my motion stands.
All right, can I have a second, please?
Second.
Ms. Brown with the second. Go ahead, call the roll.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Calendar numbers 23-09009, 23-010 are denied. This decision will be ratified next week, and then we will send the appellant the letter.
All right, thank you. All right, old business 1 through 3 without objection.
It's hard to see.
All right.
I abstain.
Oh, Madam Chair, I'm sorry, and I apologize, I should have jumped in. We will reach out to Ms. Ala, if I've got her contact information, or Ms. Abrouan, to come up with a better development plan for their site.
Yeah, and then maybe help them find somewhere they can put those dumpsters, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you very much, y'all. Take care.
All right. All right, and so we need affirmation for all 4 of these lists?
Yes, actually, there are 5 altogether.
Oh,
TZ 21-194 and 21-195.
oh, yeah, I see
are
that now.
together.
Liz, I don't believe I was present, so I will abstain from these.
So, Madam Chair, for each of these, it seems that they had some difficulties with funding and completing their full architectural specs.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, as you know, we are only looking at the site plan
Right.
when we're doing this.
No, no, it's fine. Just construction projects and development is getting a lot more difficult these days, so I'm okay with that. Without objection, board?
Without objection.
All right.
All right.
Can I have a
last-
motion for adjournment?
Last one, Kelly.
Last one.
Very last one. Thank you for your
Move
service.
To adjourn, I'd like to say it's been a pleasure serving with you.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you for your leadership and for helping to bring me on board and being so welcoming and providing great guidance. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for all you've done
You'll be missed,
you.
Kelly.
and your
Thank
7
you.
years of service.
Yes. Thank you, thank you. All right. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to
Second.
adjourn. Yep.
All right. We are adjourned.
All right.